What's up? Am I on? Jesus. Ah. All right, here we go. One more time. So, peace and power to everybody. Thank you, Tommy Temple, for telling me that my shit was not working. I don't know what's happening, man. But anyway, I haven't done one of these lives in a long while, and I've just been busy. And I've been enjoying other people's discourse, and now and again I might join, but I've been busy, so I haven't done anything. So peace and power again, and thank you all for joining me. If you're going to join me live, if you're going to join me on the playback. But the first thing I want to talk about is this clown Colby Covington in the UFC, who many people figure is just putting on an act. I don't think it's an act. I think he is who he is. And I think, what I mean by that, I think he is, in fact, an extreme racist. He made some comments to Usman in a post-fight press conference after Colby beat Tyron Woodley. And of course, Colby is a guy who traffics heavily off of the whole MAGA, Make America Great Again, super right-wing Republican politics in America. That style of politics has been tied to a lot of white supremacy and all of that. And he didn't do himself any favors when he spoke to Usman and made comments about if Usman, I think he got a call from Donald Trump, he said, while he was on the press conference. And Usman said, you know, Trump only called you because I wasn't available or some nonsense. And Colby got mad and said, who'd you get a call from? Some little tribe? You know, did they send it with, did they send a message with smoke signals? And people, I guess people thought this was funny or whatever. But the truth is, it was just what it was. It was a ridiculous racist comment by a guy who was a racist. And I'm guessing it might be twofold. He might really feel that way. He might be a racist, and he's also trying to sell tickets. The problem is when you have to do those things to sell tickets, and you have to traffic on race like that, it kind of shows just how limited and how terrible your character really is, right? I don't know if he's trying to follow the no press is bad press, and as long as they come in to see me, as long as they're buying tickets, it's all good. Because in the UFC, they have a mentality. And in fight sport, you know, you get paid what you're worth. You get paid if people come to see you fight. You know, whether they come to see you win or whether they come to see you lose. So maybe Colby feels like if they're coming to see me win or lose, they're coming to see me and I'll get more money from the UFC. But I think he's using, it's a two-layered thing. He really does feel that way. and he's using that as controversy to sell tickets. And that's unfortunate. But Dana White, his boss, came out and pretty much said, I don't see nothing wrong with Kobe's comments. Even though sponsors of the UFC, Reebok and other sponsors, have pretty much distanced themselves from Kobe and his comments, Dana White has said, I don't see nothing wrong. He said he won't muzzle anybody, and he said he would sanction anybody who made racist comments. So I'm guessing you have to pretty much say the N-word for Dana White to consider it racist. What Dana White said about not, let me share my screen. So this is on Bloody Elbow. And here's a picture of Dana White at Donald Trump's rally. Dana White is a super supporter of Donald Trump. Both of them have the same sort of mentality. And here, let me see his comments here. Here we go. He said, I don't know what he said that was racist. I don't know if I heard anything racist that he said. These guys all have their own causes, things, and their own beliefs. He said, we don't muzzle anybody here. We let everybody speak their mind. That's not necessarily true. Dana White has been in multiple conflicts with fighters, taking them to court because fighters have spoken about money, the practices of the UFC. He's pretty much whiteballed multiple fighters, journalists, for speaking up about fighter pay, the need for a fighters union, better treatment for fighters, journalists for disagreeing with Dana, journalists for giving UFC shows bad reviews. I remember he was in a long-term feud with Sherdog.com, and especially his founder, Jeff Sherwood. He had pretty much banned Sherdog.com, which is, well, I don't know if it still is, but was one of the leading MMA websites in the world. It was one of the originals, I remember, Sherdog.com. Sherdog. It was named after his founder, a guy called Jeff Sherwood. And I remember he was in exactly, Tommy. Exactly. You can't plead ignorance. Don't do that. You know what I mean? Multiple sponsors of the UFC have said, look, man, we don't agree with this man's comment. It's ridiculous. You know, but Dana White has been in a lot of conflict with people over the years for them exercising, as he said, free speech. Frank Shamrock and the UFC is still beefing. Randy Couture and the UFC are pretty much broken up for life because Randy Couture spoke up. Josh Gross, a journalist, I remember, he can't go to UFC events anymore. Ariel Helwani is constantly at odds with the UFC. What's up, Santos? You know what I'm saying? As I said, Jeff Sherwood, all types of MMA. As long as you don't say what Dana White thinks is agreeable to him or the UFC, he will ban you. So it's not true. Dana White has muzzled a lot of people. Well, attempted to muzzle a lot of people by taking away their credentials, banning them. I mean, Frank Shamrock was one of the pioneers of the complete fighter. He was like a prototype of the complete fighter, a legend in the UFC. Frank Shamrock didn't fight for long there, but his impact was made. And Frank Shamrock still is not recognized by the UFC. It's like you have to be Dana White's friend to be recognized by the UFC. But Dana White, for him to say he doesn't see anything racist, he doesn't know, it sounds like Donald Trump. When Donald Trump was asked about those people, I forgot where they were. It's one of his first big rallies. And he said, oh, they were fine people on both sides, and I don't know if I saw anything racist. They have the same talking point. They have the same mentality. They'll choose to be vague and not, oh, I don't see anything racist, and everybody has freedom of speech. Both Dana White and Donald Trump are the same person. They don't like people who don't agree with them. And they protect people who are racist people. They protect racist speech and white supremacists, and they hide behind, as Tommy Temper says, ignorance. It's not ignorance. Smoke signals, tribe. We know why Europeans call people tribes. The first people to start calling people tribes or barbarians were Romans, or Greeks and Romans. If you weren't Greek, you were a barbarian. If you weren't Roman, you were a barbarian. That's why they called the people in Ireland and Scotland, the original peoples, they call them the tribes, the barbarians, because as long as you were not of the more of Greek or Roman stock, which the British took over, and all these people took over, you were a tribe. Black people and brown people come from tribes. British people and other Western Europeans come from nations. Tribe is used as something of a derogatory term. That's why I don't use the term tribe to describe anybody's people, right? Tribe is used as something for savages. That's a tribe, something uncivilized. The Celtic tribes, the Pictish tribes, those were tribes. As long as you weren't from the ruling class of people, you were a tribe. So when he makes a comment about from your little tribe, it shows how he looks down on Usman and his people, an African people. Smoke signals, something that I guess Native Americans used to use, and they used to put it in cartoons or whatever as something savage. Those are racist caricatures of people. If you don't realize, they stopped doing cartoons. They used to have cartoons like that, where they will be setting off smoke signals. They don't play those cartoons no more because they knew it was derogatory to the people. And for him to use those same talking points, sir, I understand they have clans now. What I'm telling you is how they were described as before. They were called tribes of people. They were called tribes. Later on, they started calling them clans. But when they wanted to differentiate themselves from the wild people up north, they call them tribes. That which is not Greek is barbarian. Right? It's only later on they started calling them clans. When they were originally started describing these people, they weren't calling them nations or clan. They were just calling them tribes. Oh, you're from a tribe of people up north, a wild tribe of people. If you ask the people themselves, they would say they have different clans within their nations. But when they were describing these people, the Romans and Greeks and then British, you were just a tribe. Africans have tribes. Africans don't have nations. You're just tribes, a bunch of different tribes squabbling. But what number do you have to be of people do you have to be a nation? So I never use the term tribe to describe anybody's people because I know where that word comes from. What's up, UGC? Santos. If you say so, man. I bet you the people themselves don't call themselves tribes. So Colby Covington decides that he comes from his little tribe. And Dana White says he doesn't see anything wrong with what Colby Covington says. You have a problem because now you're telling people basically it's okay to use these derogatory caricatures of people. And I'm the president of the UFC, so it doesn't matter to me. But the UFC is in a position where they have to bring tickets in. And I guess Colby Covington is going to bring tickets in because people will want to see you, whether it's good behavior or bad behavior, people are going to come watch, right? So why would Dana White care? Him and Donald Trump have the same mentality, I told you. That's why he's such a huge Donald Trump fan. EJ Boxing, one more time. Tribes is a European term that these people picked up to refer to themselves as. Other than that, they would have called themselves a clan, they would have called themselves a family, they would have called themselves a nation. But we know where the word tribe come from. That's not the main thing of this discussion, sir. So anyway, Dana White has to decide what he's going to do. Because if your sponsors are now distancing themselves from your fighters, are you going to continue to allow him to say what he wants to say, whether good or bad? Whatever he wants to say. So basically, what if one of these guys now came out and started calling people white supremacists and all of that? Would you agree? You wouldn't agree. What if he says that everybody has their own opinion? What if they call Donald Trump a white supremacist? Would Dana White like that? He supports Donald Trump very much, and I don't really understand why Dana White is sitting here approving of this sort of behavior. Coley was out of line. We know it. And the UFC is being what the UFC's always been. People bashed Bob Arum. I think it was Bob Arum who made the comment that UFC was just a bunch of skinheads rolling around. People don't like Bob Arum, or maybe he was right. A bunch of skinheads rolling around. That was hilarious, by the way. All I'm saying is the UFC really shouldn't use this line of ticket sales. Ticket sales. It really shouldn't be involved in this. Don't allow people to use your organization to push white supremacist propaganda. Don't do it. It's not a good look for you, sir. But Dana White, I guess he just figures, look, man, if people gonna buy the pay-per-view, they're gonna buy the pay-per-view. And you know what? Colby Covington agrees with me, and he agrees with my president, and this is all good. But whatever. Tyson Fury. So Tyson Fury led a march, call it TLM. Traveler Lives Matter, I guess. I guess it is. And Tyson Fury is being his usual self. Tyson Fury came out swinging against Anthony Joshua. But Anthony Joshua made his comments in the park talking about supporting businesses in his community. Came out swinging. If I had said that, I would have been crushed and I would have been whatever. And I remember all these white British people all around started calling Anthony Joshua a racist because this man had the gall to say, support businesses in his community and don't support people who don't support them. Don't shop in their shops. Support your businesses, which I completely agree with. You see, everybody else shops in their communities, wherever they shop in their communities first. They shop there first. And whatever they can't get in their communities, then they go out. It's cool when there's a Chinatown, a little Greece, a little Italy. I've addressed this before. I've addressed this before. But when black people speak up about building their own communities, building around them, and having their money circulate more within their communities, everybody wants them to shut up. Don't speak no more. You're racist. That's usually what happens anywhere in the world you go, whenever black people decide, look, we need to do something for ourselves. In America has been the worst example. They bombed and burned cities down. They burned communities down. Yeah, refused entry. I think EJ Boxing was talking about this. I think EJ was on with Rafi, and he had this guy on who was trying to say Tyson Fury was whatever. EJ, you still there, man? Anyway, so Tyson Fury has now started this movement calling it Traveler Lives Matter because apparently some travelers got kicked out of a pub and have started being banned from pubs. Because apparently people saying they misbehave in pubs. EJ, you want to come on and talk about the Tyson Fury thing? I want you to, we can chop it up for a little while. I'm not going to be on long. That's why I didn't really get into too much of the first thing. Anyway, so Tyson Fury is mad because these people couldn't can't get into the DJ. Anybody who wants to get on, you can get on. Because I'm not going to be on long. Y'all know I don't do long streams. And Tyson Fury has now started a march called the TLM March, and he's protesting, and travelers are being treated worse than black people. But this is the same Tyson Fury who says, oh, okay, Tommy Temper, they do misbehave. I've seen it firsthand. I've never met a traveler in my life. I don't know these people. But what I will say is that what I don't like is when people attempt, like, you couldn't do this march before, because this couldn't have been the first time travelers have had issues. So why didn't you lead this march beforehand? Why do you find it necessary to wait until black people jump up and say they're going to do something, and they're going to protest treatment in England, and also stand in solidarity with the brothers and sisters in America with what they're going through? You understand? You had to wait till then to start this Traveler Lives Matter. You couldn't do it beforehand, but then you jump up to try and write off the Black Lives Matter marches. I'm not here to argue with nobody about Black Lives Matter being a Marxist organization. I'm not a member of any Black Lives Matter organization. I vibe with the message of Black Lives Matter. Don't allow me to go into. What up?
Peace, King.
What up? What up, Chief?
Oh man, I've been having the craziest week ever, man. My daughter had this infection, and I'm barely getting some time away. So I seen her come live. I'm like, oh man, this is refreshing. It's something positive, something good.
Yeah. Just going through Tyson Fury situation right now. My thing is, man, this dude jumped all over Anthony Joshua. He joined in with all these right-wing people and some even left-wing people who call Anthony Joshua a racist. Right? He jumped in with them. So he became all of a sudden the darling of England. Or he thought he was. Right? And now, what does Tyson Fury do? Tyson Fury jumps up to start comparing his traveler people, calling it racism. And I said on Rafi's live, Raphael Dawkins, check him out. That's a good dude. I like his stuff. They're saying on Rafi's live that travelers is a race and it's racism. I'm telling people travelers are not a race. All of you are white people. You're culturally different, maybe, but you're all the same race. So you can't be racism. If a traveler goes to a club, because I've seen exposés on news station about black people being denied entries into clubs because of their skin color, because of racism. But white people get in, whether they have the black people have the money, they dress appropriately or not, they're not being let in. But what I'm saying is that if a traveler goes to the same club, even though they hate travelers, who's this? This is EJ. What up, EJ? What's up, man?
Yo, what's going on, man? Hey, but first time coming over, man. Big up, man.
Hey, peace, peace.
Yeah, 100%. Like, you know, sometimes here when people put comments here, they can't really break down what it is. I don't want to, obviously, you're talking about Tyson Fury. The only reason like that, just quickly on the Kobe thing, yeah. Now, see that Kobe's quite intelligent guy, yeah. He uses words, yeah, where you can't get him. A lot of Nigerian things, they call themselves tribes, Igbo, Yoruba, and so on and so on. So the words he used, in terms of like obviously Usman, yeah, obviously Nigerian coming from certain tribes, he knew that he was using certain words. Smoke signals, obviously, he's taking the mick, innit? And of course, also obviously they're racial. But even Dana White said he didn't understand because he knows that obviously Nigerian have tribes and so forth. So these are the words he was using, like woke athletes and stuff like that. So he's using words on the border of not really tipping over. But obviously, us as people of color, we're gonna see it as racism. It's blatantly racism. It's blatantly racism. He's a fan by Donald Trump, and he can't get no fans. He's basically following Chael Sonnen's playbook. Chael Sonnen was the worst at it, by the way. He bro, yeah, you see what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. That guy. But you see the thing about with Kobe. Kobe's a fraud, though. You know what I mean? Kobe's a fraud. We see him get beat up. He's already admit that he's only doing it for views. So it's hard to take that guy really seriously. And he's not. Even when he talk about LeBron James, he's trying to throw out all these names, clout chaser. But you know, really, when I look at Kobe, I like, Kobe, bro, you're not even a world champion. Charles Sonnen was the first one. He said, "Them people in Brazil playing mud." The whole of Brazil was angry, bro. Every time he used to get beat, I used to enjoy every time. That's one guy. But when I look at Kobe's just Kobe, like he's not thinking. And McGregor, another one. Conor McGregor was the worst about the monkey. He's called he called the little guy Aldo, call him a little monkey, pat him on the head and them things there, bruv. When he got his ass beat by Mayweather and Khabib, I was good. So they gonna get theirs. They gonna get years. All right, now we're on the Tyson Fury, right? And if you can comment on that,
hold on. I want you to tell me something because you are with Rappy, right?
Yeah.
There was this guy on Sporting Advantage is saying he's not familiar with travelers. How would you know who is a traveler? Well, we're going to answer all that no, because there was this gentleman on with Rafi, with you, EJ, also.
Yeah, Jameson.
And he was trying to talk about travelers are a race. My contention was that travelers are not a race. There's race, there's nationality, there's ethnicity, there's whatever. And there's cultures within ethnicities, right?
Yeah.
Travelers might be a culture within a race, right? Because if you see a traveler and a regular Brit or whatever, a Scotsman, right? White people, and they're all dressed the same. How would you know the difference, EJ?
Bruh, I put that question already. On my channel, I've already done it on my channel. You can't see the difference. Now I'm over in the UK. Unless someone tells me they're a traveler, then I'll know. Other than that, I'm not gonna know unless I see them obviously in caravans and they all group together. Because a lot of Irish people are very close, and traveler people are very close. They move together. Like I could not tell the difference. Really, I couldn't. They say Jack Dempsey had traveler in him. All them Irish and Scottish and whatever Welsh, whatever, they're all cousins of each other. If they say they're a traveler, then but I wouldn't be able to spot them out in terms of who they are to say they're a traveler. So no, like I completely agree with you that you wouldn't be able to spot them out. They're not a race. You know what I mean? They're not. I mean, if you think about traveling, and you know, let's change the word. It used to be called gypsies, right? When you watch them black and white horror films, yeah, and you see the people doing they used to have the bull, the Mystic Meg bull, and they used to read the fortunes. That's what I used to know as gypsies. You know what I'm trying to say? So it's changed from gypsies into travelers. But are the gypsies travelers? Do they do fortune telling? Do they do all these things? And the ones I've encountered in travelers, they do a lot of reckless things. You know, this is just not me saying this is what's happened. Obviously, fighting. Some people they say stealing, you know what I think. But the thing is, the fact of the matter is that some of them are law breaking, some of them are law abiding citizens, right? They follow the laws and some of them don't. But what it is then they've been tarnished with a brush because they don't pay utility laws, they don't pay no gas, electricity, and things. So the common denominator is the reason why most people dislike them is because of these things, other than anything else. But they still get loud in certain places. So that's my take on that. I wouldn't be able to recognize them.
Right. So let me ask you something. This TLM march by Tyson Fury. Like I listened to your live about it. You said Tyson Fury is taking a piss out of the Black Lives Movement, right? Yeah. Black Lives Matter movement, right? Yeah. And I'm saying, okay, this couldn't have been the first time your traveler people had issues. It can't be the first time. So why did you have to wait till you jumped on Anthony Joshua, jumped all over this man, joined in with all these other racists, calling this man racist, calling this man all sorts of things? You know what I'm saying? And you had to wait till whatever marches were happening in England for black to show solidarity with the Americans and also to speak about some of the things that were happening in England. Because I saw people like Linford Christie come out on Twitter saying, yo, what y'all talking? Like white English was saying these things don't happen in England. Linford Christie was like, no, these things happen in England to black people. We just don't say nothing a lot of the times. But this sparked it off. So how you feel about Tyson Fury now using the Black Lives Matter movement to start to take a jump off with his Traveler Lives Matters match? How you feel about that?
I think it's an agenda. I think he feels like he's left out. Wilder's got obviously the Black Lives Matter. Anthony Joshua's got in it. Well, I'm the kind of like Caucasian champion who kind of what's the word? It's copies certain elements of black culture. That's why I feel you know what I mean, he's named after a black fighter, his dad. And he goes on similar. You know, if you see Tyson Fury, I've met him. You know, he's a joyful guy. He's a young guy, likes to mix and everything. But really, obviously, the way he represents,
he considers himself like a minority, right? Like
no, I know I'm a minority, but I'm talking about the way he carries himself, the way he thinks in his mind. And most travelers do. They like McGregor. They copy certain traits of black people, but when it's time for them to say, you know what, I'm gonna throw that away. I'm gonna embrace it. Winston Churchill was my hero. You know what I mean? That's the stuff he's saying. I think he's doing it as a political move to get people behind him who wouldn't normally be behind him. And I think he sees the Black Lives Matter as like, you know, we've got a matter. So let's think about it, right? So you go to a pub, or probably people get into a fight in a pub, right? Now it's people from your site or whatever, and the landlord rightly says, you know, you're messing up the regulars. You can't go into a pub, right? So the regular says, well, all of you lot can't come in. Maybe not for today, or maybe not next week, but you can't come in. You're messing up the regulars. Then the next day you turn up and say, why can't we come in? He goes, well, there was a fight last week. You know, all you do is go to another pub. But the rudeness of it, I see, is like, okay, you at least you was allowed in the pub. Now you start, and then some of you started a fight in the pub. You want to go back in, and now you're trying to say, oh, travelers' lives matter. But how has your lives been at risk? Like I saw did anyone get killed? I mean, it completely, in my mind, yeah, you're absolutely really trying to hijack a movement. And I'm trying to say Black Lives Matter is a very serious thing. And when people saw that and Coogan had it on his channel, it was very offensive. I mean, I saw it and I was like, oh, what am I seeing? What am I seeing here? And then it jarred me so much, I had to make a video. I didn't care who listened. And I rang Coogan Cassius to find out his point of view, to see what's going on. He didn't pick up whatever. And I'm saying to myself right now, I'm going to say he's hijacking the movement. I think it's all going to coincide, yeah, is when he fights Wilder to say, look, my lives matter. You know what I'm trying to say? My people's been oppressed, to bring that kind of thing, to get that kind of clout, to get people on board. And then Wilder's going to have that type of thing. And I think it's a political move to get into that arena, to draw more audience into the fight, to make more people interested. That's what I think it is. You know what I mean? I mean, because you can't get into a pub. I mean, how can you even stand up and say, because you won't let into the pub? But hold on a minute. The backdrop is that you had a fight in the pub a couple of weeks ago, right? And everyone knows that you know what I'm saying? You're drinking in the pub, and now you're trying to say your lives are at threat. That's some serious stuff there, bro. That had to be addressed. So you know, he's gone too far with it, bro. Like to the point that it's crossed the line in terms of where you are. I remember Mayweather fought Ricky Hatton, and I remember I like Ricky Hatton going into that fight. When I heard them boo the American national anthem with Tyrese was singing it, it was over, bro. I looked at that point and said, listen. Whether I like Ricky Hatton or not, there's certain things I'm not having it. Disrespect. And that's what Tyson Fury, the disrespect, I can't take it. There's certain disrespect that it's crossed the line. And Anthony Joshua's crossed the line with a lot of English people in terms of the Black Lives Matter. But let's okay then. That's what's up. You know what I mean? End of the day, they're gonna fight, and whether they resolve it or not. But at this point, I can't roll with Tyson Fury, and what he's doing is absolutely outrageous.
Yeah. Black, where'd you go, man? You got off again. Anybody wants to get on, you can get on. Y'all know I ain't gonna be on for very long. No, you see, EJ, I'm not American, I'm not British, right? I live in the Caribbean, right? Yeah. But I try to warn people, especially black people in America or whatever. I try to tell them, like, yo, when these people get finished doing what they're doing up there and they want to break, they come down here to the Caribbean to vacation. Listen, you know how much fights I've seen down here on this island? Black people fighting white Americans and white Europeans because these people don't know how to speak to black people. They don't know. Yes, Tommy, of course you could get on. Here's the link, bro. Right? I've seen these fights. So I'm like, bro, this is a very, like, I was on your channel and I saw guys say in the comment section for the Tyson Fury video you did, this is happening to us now, not our ancestors. And I'm like, you think this is not happening to black people? No? You think this is just happening to our ancestors? This is happening now. Hold on. Tommy Temper's coming on. What's up, Tommy?
What's up, Mr. Kong? How you doing?
All good, brother. All good. All good. EJ's on.
What's up,
What's up, EJ?
What's up? What's up, Tom? What's on your mind?
To me, this whole thing stinks.
Yeah.
It's not as if he's tried to maneuver it to make it look like it's sort of semi-genuine. It's just an emotional reaction to being refused entry, and that's the bottom line. Because he's so aggrieved because he couldn't get into the pub. Oh, it's discrimination. Oh, it's racism. It's not racism. It's discrimination. And at the end of the day, the pub landlord, it's a private establishment. He can discriminate against whoever he wants to. And that's just the way it is. Right or wrong, but it's not even about right or wrong. It's just that's the status quo. You try to get into a nightclub, they don't have to let you in.
Right.
You know.
Right. I got you. But Tyson Fury, I don't know. I think EJ is saying like it might be a longer thing, a longer vision for him to sort of rope this into the next Wilder fight. But remember, in the second Wilder fight, he tried to steer away from any racist talk, any race talk. Here he is now diving right into the race talk, right? And it's like, Tyson, what's this? Like, why are you doing this, bro? Because remember, in the first Wilder fight, that's what sparked off Wilder with his till this day comment, because Tyson Fury says, my people have been fighting for how much ever years. Wilder was like, what do you mean? My people have been fighting for 400 years. What are you talking about? I wonder if Tyson Fury really knows what he's saying sometimes. Is he making genuine mistakes where he just runs his mouth so much that he just says dumb shit? Or is he really that devious? You know what I'm saying?
Well, he does have a habit of running his mouth and saying dumb shit. So, he's already set a precedent for that.
EJ, is it devious or is he really that stupid?
Yeah, he's really that stupid. Yeah, remember he's a boxer. Yeah, he's really that stupid. He's not. You know what I mean? You got to remember these. You have to bear in mind these guys fight for a living, right? And I remember this is one interview where I kind of felt away for Tyson Fury. He was being interviewed by the BBC, and it was on the comments. I don't know if you know about this. He made conference reference to gay people as pedophiles, right? And this is the backlash after the Klitschko, because this is why he hasn't been embraced in England. In America, he's starting to get embraced, but in England they weren't embracing him, because when he came out, I wanted to tell, it goes, there's all pedophiles out there, people having sex with kids, and you know what? He was right. He's right about that. You know what I mean? He was right about that. So anyway, right? It was somewhere in the country. He just doing a jog. So the BBC was interviewing him, and when he was interviewing him, a car drove by, goes, "All right, go back home, you pikeys." And you see the shock you see the shock on his face. And this is the abuse he gets, the traveler people gets on an ongoing basis. You can understand why they are what they are. It's a backwards and forwards battle. But no lives are being it's prejudiced and it is racist. I mean that's racist towards people of that that culture, right? But what I'm saying is that the lives are not getting hanged. I mean, when the police comes, right? I had the situation, like I said to you, around where I live, where the police had to move them on. They just moved them on. There's no one getting hanged, tasered, killed, knees on neck or nothing like that. So their lives are not really at risk. But what it is that there's obviously I'm just gonna say it, a certain amount of white privilege where they feel like, you know what, I don't care, yeah. I shouldn't be treated like this. I should be a traveler. I should be proud to be who I am. Well, listen, some people don't think you're proud to be because you're not paying your utility bills, and we're not going to give you the respect. It's like certain travelers, they want to do certain things and they still want to get respect. I mean, some of your cousins or whatever had a fight in the pub, and the landlord said you can't get him. And rather than respect that and go to another pub or carry on moving, you're like, nah, we want to come back in there. That's disrespect. To me, that's a level of actually disrespectful, and this is the mentality they have. So, and Tyson Fury is
entitled mentality, isn't it?
Yeah, entitlement. I mean, people call it white privilege and stuff like that. I mean, that's what it's coming across, right?
Yeah, but the thing is, anybody can have an entitled mentality.
Yeah. You're absolutely rich. Really, if you look into it, is rich and thing. But and that's what travelers are. They're lower brand of what people would say of how people can supposed to conduct themselves. And in that lower brand, they embrace black people. Traveler people embrace black people because they think, well, we're on the same level. We're being treated bad as well. But you don't have to be. You can assimilate into a house and put a shirt and tie in, and we wouldn't even know you was travelers. You see the difference, right? But black people in the team, we can't do that. And when we go to some clubs, right, or whatever, they're just not getting the way we look. We don't even have to act bad or conduct ourselves any way. You're not coming in. I mean, Tyson, they were actually in the pub. You know what I mean? And so I'm like, but at the end of the day, it's come down to lives. I mean, if you really want to think about it, you could say travelers being bullied. That would have been a better slogan for you. But the reason why you've said that slogan is to jump on board, to hijack the Black Lives Matter. And in answer to your question, your initial question as well, is that is he that dumb? Absolutely, he's that dumb. Absolutely, he's that dumb. And he doesn't really care. As you can see by, if you was on Rafi's channel, the guy we was questioning, he's not really a traveler. I think he's just a Tyson Fury fan and thought, I'm just going to say I'm half traveler. I mean, we really questioned him. You know what I mean? We really questioned him, which I wasn't going to bother, because when I heard he was a fan, you know what a fan is a short word for fanatical. When I heard that, I said, you know what? I'm not going to put my intelligence on it. I let Raf, and this is why I call Raf slow roasting, slow roasting Raf, because what Raf does, he's slow. Because I can hear Raf warming up the engines. So I thought, let me jump off. That's what the engine is revving up. I thought, let me jump off, let Raf go to work on him. And Raf surgically opened him up, yeah, and the guy still couldn't see that everything what he was saying was completely and utter wrong. So yes, he's dumb. And the thing is, I think he's trying to use it. Let's see how far this is going to go with Coogan and the rest of them. Because if you look at the comments in the IFL thing, it's not going down well, mate. It's not going down well, bro. I'll tell you, because you have traveler fans who support him, and I'm sure the average English fan. But when it comes down to these things, yeah, it's a very touchy situation when it comes, but it gets political, because people can see the front. I mean, Tommy, Tommy, you'd know more than mine. I mean, when you see that thing, what was your first initial reaction to it?
Sorry, when I saw what?
When you saw Tyson Fury in the Travelers Lives Matter, what was your first initial opinion to it when you saw that?
I'll be honest. I thought he did a complete U-turn, because you remember the second fight, he says, "Oh, I'm not going to get involved in that," because Deontay Wilder says, "Oh, I'm going to turn him into a Black History meme," and Fury's like, "Oh, I don't want it. I don't want anything to do with that." But to me, now it seems like he's turned his whole situation into a pissing contest with the Black Lives Matter.
Right. Exactly. This is why I asked, is this deep? It's because you just said, I don't want to get involved in all of that. Then you jumped on Anthony Joshua. You jumped on and saying, oh, if I had said it, I had said that. Anthony Joshua took his back. And Anthony Joshua said, plain out, I'm not taking nothing back. Whoever doesn't agree with me can go F themselves. I don't care. Right? And he took whatever backlash. Now here you are jumping right on that with TLM. Don't do that, man. Especially when it's not something about no murders, it's not something about police stopping you, it's not something about those things. And I'm telling you, when I look at you started seeing Black Englishmen, as I said, people like Lynn for the Christian, other people coming out and saying, it's just that we haven't said anything publicly. These things happen to us in England, right? We just don't say nothing. But the situation in America was so violent and so public that it sparked off feelings in Black people around the world. Around the world. It was so violent and so terrible. So Black people started speaking up. I guess Tyson Fury felt like this is the best way for him to get some shine for his people. This is not the best way to me, sir. You want to talk about travelers' lives? Go ahead. Talk about that. But don't compare it to people whose lives are actually in danger. I think EJ said it correctly. Yes, we might be at the bottom rung of society a lot of the times. At the end of the day, you can hide if you want to. Black people can't hide. That's the difference between us and you. Don't matter where in the world you are, Black people cannot hide. Even if you're mixed with something else, you're mixed with white, mixed with whatever, you can't hide. And that's the difference. That's what Tyson Fury has to understand. And his support has to understand. When it comes to these situations, please speak for your people. Don't try and downplay. Don't try and step on Black people's heads to get a platform for your movement. Don't do it. It's not the same. Trust me. We can't hide. It's not nothing funny. It's not a joke, man. You know what I'm saying? And I try to encourage people to please just be sensitive. If you don't care about it, then don't mention it. If you're not helping, don't hurt. You know what I'm saying? I've had my own conversation with people down here, because in my line of work, I have to deal with a lot of different people, including British people, right? And for some reason, they choose to engage me in these discussions. And I have to keep reminding them about their history on this island. And the reason why me, a black guy, is on this island. There's a reason why I'm here. This island was the first British colony, British and French colony in the Caribbean. This island, St. Kitts, right? And I have to keep reminding them that there's a reason why I am on this island talking to you right now. So please, let's not go there. Please. You understand? But anyway, anything else, Tommy, EJ? Anything else?
Yeah. I mean, look, man. Listen. This thing, and it's entering, like you mentioned, obviously with Kobe Covington, it's in all realms of sport. And the thing is, people can do it like Tyson Fury, Kobe Covington. They can do it, and it's like look. When I look at Tyson, I don't hate him. I really don't. But I just feel like he's being used as a puppet, being used as a pawn. And I think the person behind him, me personally, is Frank Warren. I'm just gonna I'll put it out there. I think Frank Warren's behind it. Because look, you need to start a movement. Start talk about your lives there. That'll get Anthony Joshua. That will help sell the tickets. That's what I believe. And see with Kobe Covington, I believe that Chael Sonnen's behind him. You know what I mean? I feel Chael Sonnen. I think these guys being used as puppets to be put out there, and Tyson Fury is doing it. But I look at him and I think he's talking. He goes, he's not really. He's trying to start something, but I go, just because his mind is all over the place. Just say how long can he stick at that and try and move. I mean, really and truly, because the thing is, right, when you do stuff like that, especially Kobe's protected with the MMA media, because I was listening to the post press conference and I was like, none of them they asked him some really good questions and he couldn't answer them. And I thought, this is why you're an idiot, right? This is why you're an idiot. And even Usman asked him a question. He says, done him, said he beat him. And it's like, he goes, I already beat you already, sir. And then, you know what I mean? Like, you're not trying to say it. It's like, so it's hard to take that guy serious. Now, let's go to Tyson Fury. When you say these sort of things, yeah, people are sitting there squinting their eyes. I'm telling you. So when the mainstream media actually catch Tyson Fury, not BT Sports and not most people on his side, when the other mainstream media they'll pull him up and they'll put him some questions on it. What exactly do you mean about your people, this, that, the other? Do you know that black people's lives are actually at risk? And how many people you're talking about being killed? When he gets pulled up on it, you're going to see his reaction. And I'm telling you, he'd have nothing up there because you got no defense towards anything. Prejudice, 100%. They're towards travelers. There's in loads of movies that they dislike towards travelers. But listen, travelers people, they're not the type of people to mess with. This is the thing that makes me laugh though. But they're not the type of people you can roll up on and do anything like there's not going to be repercussions. They have some serious connections and they will find you and deal with you appropriately. This is what I'm saying. With Black Lives Matter, it's not necessarily the case. As you see with Breonna Taylor over there in the States, right? They've offered her family how many millions, and there's no repercussion for the cops who did that. And also with the Aubrey case and other cases going on, it seems like there's certain things that some people getting killed and they're getting off. If this was a traveler and that knee on the throat, listen, they'll burn down the city. The guy who did it will disappear. Next thing you find him in a ditch. I'm telling you, these are not people to be played. There's not, and look, I'm trying to be honest with you. Yeah, they don't joke around. So it's a complete different thing. And the thing is, I feel bad for the pub owner because in the day, it's bringing a light to his pub that trying to put the manager in a certain light. I mean, it would have been nice if they could hear the manager, but the manager said, I don't want you in. There was a fight last week and you're messing up my regulars. And really and I don't want you lot in my pub for now. He could have said it for now, maybe a month ban or whatever it is. As long as you come and behave yourself, then fine. I'm sure they're going to be allowed back into the pub probably next week or something like that. You know what I mean? But that won't be reported. It'll just be, you know what I'm trying to say? So it's a complete different situation. So I'm watching very closely on who's jumping on board with this thing and see how far, because to be fair, there's nothing behind it. I mean, Kobe Covington saying these things, I'm looking at him, you're going to get beat at some point and then what? You know what I mean? You're going to get beat because you love Donald Trump. Donald Trump might be out of office, then what? You know what I mean? Tyson Fury, right? I look at him against Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder is completely silent. We ain't heard nothing from him, but I'm sure he's doing some deep soul-touching training. Now, I expect when that fight happens, it's going to be all business, and I expect Deontay Wilder to win that fight. Whether he does or doesn't, I'm sure he's going to have a better performance than his last performance, I can tell you that. And let's see how far this goes. But this whole political realm of what we live in is people jumping on board to get child status. You're going to get found out, and you're going to have to be answered questions, especially in your later life, about what your stance were and why do you take that stance. And that's all you can say at this moment. I mean, it's it's foolishness. You know what I mean? You have to really research the history about what you're saying and what you're doing, because you're going to be held accountable. And Tyson Fury, by the way, when he was talking about pedophiles, that's why he was blackballed in the UK. Of even when he won his championship, and that also contributed to his mental health. I mean, no one's really saying that, but that's really what contributed to it, because he was getting, but he wasn't getting the respect, because he just won the world championship and he thinks he can come out and call out. And there's a lot of people pedophile ringing in the UK, trouble young boys and girls and all them, and they're quite powerful, and they made sure they done Tyson Fury a dirty way, and this contributed to his depression, and also the British board, him taking drugs, and also with the glove gates. This guy's got so much going on, man. You know what I mean? He's just I don't even know how the man sleeps in his bed. I was listening to the guy who I interviewed as well, the sparring partner. I can't remember his name now, and he was saying how Tyson Fury had another woman in one room and his wife was another, and he was having sex in another room. This guy's done. He was snorting lines of coke. Yeah, man. This guy's done serious stuff.
All right.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, he has to hold himself accountable to who he is as a man before he comes out here and starts trying to be the movement. And most travelers, again, not most travelers, quite a few travelers, they don't believe he's a traveler anyway. But you know why? Because he lives in a house. He doesn't live in a blood. He lives in a house. See, you didn't know that he's in the Caribbean, right? He actually lives in a house. So the only reason they've got you there because you're visible. See what I'm saying? So you're a fraud, man. You're absolute fraud. So that's it.
Tommy.
EJ, you killed that. How can I lead on from that? Yeah, you kind of killed that. The thing is, though, there was a media blackout after he won the belts. And yeah, I would say that contributed towards his downfall, because the media pretty much went dead, and it was just bad news about him. And you know, he didn't get the credit that he deserved, in my opinion. But it is what it is. And I will say this: I believe that he was on the Snow White before he won the belts. And I don't buy into that. Oh, the reason why he went on that is because of all the events that happened. No, it might have contributed towards it, but he is his own man. He's responsible for his own actions.
There you go. Well, I have a question. Sporting Advantage asked. He says, I think maybe Fury should take AJ's advice. I don't know if travelers have pubs. However, the pocket is where real change can happen. So what he's basically saying is Tyson Fury needs to then encourage travelers to have their own businesses. You know what I'm saying? When you control your own profits, that's when people start looking at you differently. Because if you're forever a consumer, that's all you are, a consumer. People don't see you the same as them.
Yeah, but let me ask the question. If they don't have businesses, how are they making money?
I don't know. What type of work are travelers involved in? Because you guys said
gambling. They like to gamble on fights within the community. That much I do know. But how else they make their money, I could speculate. But that's all I'd be doing.
Aaron Dingle, I guess. So are we saying travelers' lives don't matter? If that's what you heard in this discussion, sir, I don't know what to tell you. Nobody said that travelers' lives don't matter. I think you should listen to the video and understand what we're saying. Please.
He doesn't want to understand. This is what I'm trying to say to you. This is what you get. This is what I'm trying to say to you. That guy is a fanatical fan who doesn't understand this. The moment you're saying anything against the narrative of Tyson Fury, the first thing is like, well, our lives don't matter, and then we have to go in the whole spiel of explaining. I wouldn't explain. I mean, it's clear as day. Your lives are not at risk, right? And simple as that. And to talking about the buying of a property, that means if you buy a property, that means you can't be a traveler no more. The whole point of being a traveler is of you're moving on. You go to one location to the other. So if you buy a property, that means you're an heiress. So now can you imagine they bought the property, right? And like they have their own pub. So what exactly is going to happen in that pub? You can imagine, innit? The amount of trouble was going to happen in that pub. The amount of the engagement with the local police, the local people. You know what I'm trying to say? So they know that they can't go on. So most of the time, they have on their sites, they have their own brewery in their pub, and they have their own parties, and they have a thing with their caravan. They have a great time. You know, they have their own festivals in their own thing. Occasionally, they break out of that. They want to break out and go and see what everyone else doing. Because I mean, basically, they live in their own world. They go out and they want to see what other. And this is where when they come out of the safety of the site or whatever, this is where they get abused and stuff like that, and it's unacceptable. I agree, but occasionally, you know, it goes backwards and forwards. They give some to get some. We have the man Unrivaled jumping in. We're gonna hear his take. I thought he didn't want to talk about this, but
I don't know. I don't know what we're talking about.
Okay.
I just saw the link in the chat and I clicked
it. Unrivaled, really, it was just a discussion about Colby Covington's comments and Dana White pretty much saying Colby didn't say anything out of.
I don't know who Colby is.
Colby Covington for the UFC. Never mind him then. So anyway, Tyson Fury and his what I keep saying that Travelers Lives Matters movement. Do you know about it?
I know it's controversial. I know it's getting a lot of conversation. I know there's a lot of people formulating different forms of opinions from every side of camp. I haven't really done much research on it. Travelers Lives Matter didn't start with Tyson Fury. It's been around for a few years. It's getting more notoriety because of his name. He is the largest name in the traveling community. There are a select group of travelers who don't consider him to be a traveler.
Really?
Yeah, there is a select few.
Are you telling me? So hold on. Are you telling me? If there are any travelers in the chat, please, if you can come on and explain something to me. You're telling me you wouldn't be considered a traveler, even if you come from the ethnic stock. You wouldn't be considered a traveler anymore if you settled down and bought a permanent home.
I live in a house and I'm told I'm not a gypsy, so I guess so.
Oh, you're a traveler?
Part half. My dad's a full-blown traveler.
Okay. So, would you?
Well, my dad's half traveler. My grandpa is a full-blown traveler. So
would you be considered a traveler if you did?
Depending on who you talk to, yes, and depending who you talk to, no. I'm not living on a site, so I'm not considered like part of that full culture. No.
Okay. There you go. There you go. Well, anyway, man, I wanted to get into some quick boxing talk because it's a big weekend out here. Of course, the Charlos. Are we predicting a Charlo clean sweep?
I am. I'm predicting a majority decision in favor of Jamal, and I'm predicting a knockout in favor of Jamel mid rounds.
I'm sorry, you say Jamal is going to go to decision with Sergey?
Yeah, full 12 rounds, majority decision, probably it'll be a close fight. Sergey is a good fighter.
Wow.
Sergey's very good on the inside. I think Jamal's gonna go the distance with it. I don't think he'll get him out of there. Just because Sergey will live on his chest for too many rounds. Jamal, he's got a good short uppercut, but only in straight lines at mid range.
You don't think Sergey takes too much punishment coming in though?
I think he does, but I don't think Jamal has proven he hits harder than the other two guys who've fought him that are elite. Danny Jacobs and Golovkin. And the only reason I say that is because Jamal hasn't been fighting against same level of opposition that Jacobs or Triple G did and hurting people of that caliber, you know? Like his best win so far is Brandon Adams at middleweight.
What the hell happened with Chavez Jr.? Sporting Advantage. What happened with Chavez Jr.?
He lost. He lost.
Shit me.
He lost to a guy called Caceres. Dude, I'd only heard of once. I predicted Chavez was going to stop this guy in 5 or 6 rounds.
Is this the card with his father?
Yeah, which was a great fight, by the way. His dad's fight was great. Him and RSA was great. They had head guards and stuff on, but these guys were toe-to-toe for the entire time, throwing power punches at each other. These old men just throwing punches. And at the end of the bell, the final bell went, they were still throwing punches at each other. They had to have the teams come in to pull them off each other.
Oh, Tommy, boxing weekend. Anything you're looking forward to?
I'm just happy to watch the boxing, to be honest. I'm happy that there's some cards on. I've actually got a question for Mark. Mark, how many fights at light heavy has Chavez Jr. won?
I don't know exactly how many fights he's won at light heavyweight.
I don't think he's won any.
I've no idea, bro. I've no idea. I couldn't tell you.
Because he got spanked by Fonfara, didn't he?
Yeah. I mean,
and that was at one.
It's awkward with Chavez Jr. because his weight goes up and down so much. You know, I know he beat Brian Vera, and that was at light heavy.
Fair enough.
It depends if you
That's
count the
probably better.
Bravo fight because he came in slightly above the limit, but it was meant to be for light heavy, so it really depends.
Are you seeing my screen? Here's my screen.
Oh, okay.
Which
So
one?
you see Ebert Bravo right there. Chavez came in slightly above the limit that was scheduled to be for light heavyweight. I think he was 175 and a quarter in that fight. Then if you go down to the two Brian Vera fights, there was one there that was at 168, the second fight, but the first fight they both had a catch weight of like 172. So that was in the light heavyweight division. So he's got the first fight when he beat Brian Vera. Yeah, so he's got at least one or two victories at 175 against nothing really. It's a good question though.
I'll be honest. I think he's better off at super middle. I think the guys at light heavy are just too strong.
I think he's better off retiring and leaving our sport alone.
Oh man,
he's disgracing his father's name, man.
Oh man,
he is.
That's crazy. EJ's gone.
I'm here. I'm here. No, I'm here. I'm here.
Is it going to be a Charlo clean sweep?
Oh yeah, man, I don't really care about them two brothers, but I'll watch them. You know what I mean? I don't like them, man. I don't like them. I feel. You know, we're talking about characters in boxing, and I feel these two are just talking like, you know what I mean? They're talking. I remember when they was talking about Danny Jacobs, and Danny Jacobs caught one in the corridor, and I saw his demeanor, and it just couldn't get out of my head. I go, this guy's a fraud, man. It's like you be talking big and talking all up in people's faces, and to see if the other person is going to be intimidated, which, you know, most people do that. I see James Toney do that in boxing, right? But when you go in the ring and then you just lay an egg, bro, you see what I mean? Like, that's on the verge of when you're supposed to be great, you're getting knocked out, or one of them's losing. And you know what I'm trying to say? They okay, but they're just like, to me, it's like, bruv, like, are they paper tigers or are they the real thing? They're supposed to win. We know they're supposed to win. You know what I mean? Derevchenko, you know what I mean? He's strong, come forward. He gave Golovkin a good fight. And, you know, the other guy he's fighting, I don't even know too much about him. So they're supposed to win. But with them, it's like, okay, then let's find out. Are they going to be the next two big brothers like the Klitschko's? I think the last two big brothers and who else. Are they going to be like, are they the next dominating guys? I don't know, because when it was their time to take over, like, they lose. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of them guys there, they gassed up and they got people around them gassing their heads up. And they think they made it and they ain't done nothing yet, bro. So it's hard to say, but I'm going to watch it. Are they going to be a clean sweep? I have to say I'll be on the fence. But if I put my neck out, I'm going to get my neck chopped off, and I've done it before. I can't trust the Charlos. I just can't trust them. You know
but we'll see tonight. We'll see.
Yeah, we're going to see tonight. For real. There's another fight on today as well. I can't remember. There's quite a few fights on. But
there's a lot of fights on tonight. Lots.
What about what's his name?
Rafi's in the chat. See Rafi in the chat?
Super Series.
Yeah, Bradis versus Dorticus is on.
That's a good fight.
Yeah.
When is that fight going to be on? Like, is it going to be on what time? Like, what
I reckon
time?
about 5 hours from now, roughly. 5 hours from now.
Okay. I'll be able to watch that then. Is this the real Raphael Dawkins combat?
Yeah, that's him. Yeah, that's him. That's Rafi. Jump in, Rafi. That's him.
What's up, Rafi? If you want to say a few things, you know, a big respect to Rafi. I know there was a troll going on with Rafi's name.
There's a troll going around with everybody's name, bro. Everybody's.
Everyone's got a troll, man.
I've got 7 of them using my name. I seen 7 of them in one shot. Yeah.
Oh man. Hey, you know what? That's a form of what's the thing?
Flattery. That's a form of flattery.
Yeah, it is. You know, when some people to imitate you or copy your channel, it's like, yo, I'm popular, man. You know what I'm saying?
Imitation's the ultimate form of flattery.
Yeah, man, you made it. No, but I'm saying though, we're gonna see tonight with these Charlos. Me personally, I picked Jamal. I think Jamal is gonna stop this dude. Let me see if this is a real Raphael Dawkins Combat Radio. Good day, sir.
Yes. It's the one and only. Do not be fooled by cheap imitations.
What's up, bro?
How you doing, guys? How's it going? What's crack-a-lacking?
All good, man. We were just talking about Mr. Covington from the UFC. Dana White backing up with his comments, talking about Tyson.
What did he say? What did Covington say? I don't know.
Covington with the whole, he was being interviewed post-fight after Woodley, and he was with Usman going back and forth talking about Usman got a call from his little tribe. If the tribe sent the message with a smoke signal, which we already know which we already know what that if you're gonna go there, we know what this is.
Yeah, you don't say that. You don't say that.
We know what you're trying to do, sir.
Of course.
So the question is, I think he's gone now, but EJ was saying like this is a way for Colby to get some notoriety. Is that? And Dana White came out and said he didn't see anything wrong with Colby's comment. He didn't see.
I heard Dana White. I heard Dana White say he didn't have any problem with it because I watched the what do you call it? The pre-fight interviews with Israel and the Brazilian guy, and Dana said he didn't see anything wrong with it, but I didn't know what Colby had said.
Yeah.
But if he said that and Dana White ain't got a problem with it, I mean, to me, you defeat those arguments with logic. Now, smoke signals, as far as I'm aware, they're more associated with the Native American, the Indian.
Yeah. Yes.
So how is Colby confusing Native American culture? And I presume he's alluding to African culture. Now, as far as I'm aware, it's a Native American thing. And furthermore, I mean, if you really want to get deep into it, that's an advanced form of communication.
Yes.
For the Native American. So I don't really, you need to ask Colby what is he alluding to? Why is he confusing Native American culture with African culture? But either way, of course, it's not coming from a good place. We know that for sure. He's not complimenting the Native American on their advanced form of communication.
That's real. And he basically, Colby's just like whatever, it's just a whole ball of ignorance and a whole ball of negativity, right? Ball up in and just thrown out there. He was on spewing all this nonsense, and you have to see this post-fight press. It was terrible.
I'll check it out.
How are you gonna talk shit to a dude who already broke your jaw? Usman broke this man's jaw like the first time they fought. He broke his jaw, right? And you can't be talking this to this man. You know what I'm saying? Colby,
he was addressing Usman and not.
Yes.
Oh, the guy already beat him.
Yes, because I guess Colby's gonna fight him again or whatever. So Usman came on, doing a little side-by-side interview, and Colby starts going off with his rants. But my thing is this where you really want to go to sell tickets? Because as they said, whether, we have this thing where we say in marketing, no news is bad news, no press is bad press. If people are coming to see you win or lose, at least they bought a ticket.
Yeah.
Is this really what you want to traffic on? Especially at this time.
In extreme poor taste. But I think sometimes you have to defeat people with logic rather than sanctions. You know what I'm saying? So his utterances have to be held up for scrutiny, and let people decide. Let the people decide.
It's crazy to me. On arrival, so that was his comments. You gotta see it if you want to see it. It's just ridiculous. It was a whole ridiculous rant by Colby. It was just terrible.
I'm gonna have to check it out.
It looked like a pro wrestler cutting a promo who was really bad. It was bad.
Yeah.
You know
well, at first they were saying that he was just playing a part, but at some point you have to acknowledge that he's not playing a part. The role he's playing is him.
It's him. It's part of him.
It's him. It's not a role. It's him. It's him.
And what happens? I remember watching a pro wrestling these shoot interviews, and a guy was saying his character actually, he was playing a part first, but then his character actually molded him.
Life imitating art. So you start off playing a role, playing a part, and you become the part that you were playing.
There you go.
Over to somebody else. I'm muting for a second.
Yeah. Tommy, Unrivaled, anything
Sounds
you
like
want to say?
method acting, but stuck in the method.
Stuck in the method. Stuck in the method. But I don't know.
Well, it happened. Ric Flair mentioned that once, didn't he? Ric Flair. He talked about how the whole pretty boy regime and the Jeff Lyon, whatever, he started to imitate and it caused a lot of alcohol issues from and drug issues and related issues and led to a lot of STDs and stuff. Yeah.
It was probably Ric Flair. I heard because he didn't start off like that. Obviously, he started imitating. I forgot who the guy was. He was imitating. Anyway, it was an older wrestler, and he took on a Nature
Gorgeous
Boy.
George. Gorgeous George.
Right. He took on a Nature Boy persona. Nature Boy was this flashy dude, a lot of women, big cars, flat, nice clothes, and all of that. And that bled into his personal life. Because you can't be this guy in the ring and then tomorrow when people see you outside, you're just an average guy at the pub. You know what I'm saying? You know. But that's it for Colby. I don't know what to say about him. I guess Dana White figures this is a great way to sell some tickets, and he wants to maximize on that. I don't think it's a great idea because a lot of his fighters are in fact black. The black fighters have taken it really seriously. Like you had a situation with Mike Perry, another fighter using the N-word to describe somebody else.
I saw
right? And Dana White didn't sanction him either. So when Dana White says in his interview, when they asked him, he says, I won't muzzle anybody. If anybody says but if anybody says anything racist, I will muzzle them. You've had people who've used the N-word. You know, so what exactly qualifies as racism for Dana White?
I don't know, man. I don't know. All I know is that these are things you shouldn't say. That's all I know.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, early on,
America's backward though. America's backward.
Right.
Because in the UK we have legislation. It's actually in law that you cannot racially abuse someone, and if you do, you can fall foul of the law.
Well, isn't it in the law over there like hate speech and everything like that?
Hate speech.
Hate
but
speech.
the problem is the people who are writing the laws probably just saying hate speech. You see, the smoke signal thing, I spoke on that earlier because they used to have cartoons showing like the native, like with caricatures of the Indians doing smoke signals, and they had to stop showing them cartoons because the Native Americans was like, no, this is disrespectful. What's this? They had to stop. So Europeans have been using these caricatures of Native Americans for a while. And what Colby is doing is playing upon those same sort of derogatory views of Native Americans and the whole little tribe thing in Africa. Really just stinky stuff in general.
Yeah.
And I don't know what Dana White would consider to be racist if none of these things for him, because sponsors have already come out and rebuked these comments. I've already said, no, we don't associate ourselves with Colby Covington. We don't agree with none of this. So if your sponsors are saying we are not involved in none of this, why are you backing this up?
Well, money talks. Money talks. So if the sponsors come out, well, really it's down to the sponsors. It's that if the sponsors say, listen, we cannot have our brand associated with such views, then that's what's going to make the difference. Dana White, I think, is a man about the bottom line. And the bottom line is it's the sponsors. I think it's the sponsors who have the power.
I got you.
Yeah, but have the sponsors pulled out?
Nope.
So yeah,
nope.
There it is.
They just said, nah,
so the sponsors need to take, well, if they take action, then that will be the decider. If the sponsors go to Dana White and say, listen, we can't be associated with this. You got some work to do with this guy. You got some work to do with this guy. Then that's what will move the needle. You know, Dana White's all about moving the needle.
And there needs to be someone who does that, because at the end of the day, we all know that, like, in America, the whole white hype shit, people will respond to that.
People love it. Let's look at, let's look at.
Yeah, but in America, the more controversial the event, the more it sells. It's not really
exactly.
The case in
the
UK,
we need money to move the needle.
Well, not only that, but in America, it's been proven that people who take Colby Covington's stance often profit. Look at the one that always comes to mind is Furman. You know that name, Furman?
No.
It's Furman. No. What did he do?
Furman the German?
No.
Furman the German?
No.
Furman the German? Is that you're not familiar with that? Remember that guy from the OJ case, the police officer?
Oh, Mark Furman. Yeah.
Furman.
Mark Furman. Yeah.
Yeah. So Furman, he was the one. He was the one who said he'd never used the N-word in relation to a suspect or what do you call him? Somebody under arrest.
Mhm.
And I think they had proof that he had. I think tape recordings or something of that nature. That guy went on to have his own show now. He's got his own show. Or is he on Fox or something or some radio show? He's doing very, very well. So it has been shown that in America, when you take the stance of a Covington, it can prove profitable.
That's right. That's right.
So why would he stop? Why would he stop?
EJ was on and he was talking about another MMA guy, Chael Sonnen, who pretty much the predecessor of a lot of this
he's the architect. He's the grand poobah of this kind of shizniks.
So there you go. So as you said, I mean, he's doing
he's
quite
profited.
well.
He's profited. He kept on getting busted for drugs. He kept on getting busted for PEDs, and he kept on coming back.
That's right. That's right.
And now he's doing very, very well. So, that's a reflection of American society, I'm afraid.
Terrible. I don't know what to say about it. But anyway, man, it's not much else to say. Rafi, picks for this weekend. Is it Charlo's going to have a clean sweep?
That's all 50-50 though to me.
Bradis and what's his name? Oh God, what's the other guy's name?
Bradis and Dorticus.
Right. Picks.
Bradis wins. Dorticus, what is that? 12 round. Bradis wins via 12 round. Is Dorticus gonna knock Bradis out, or is Bradis gonna? I don't see Bradis knocking Dorticus out. I do see him winning over 12 rounds. So pick one, Bradis by 12 rounds. Pick two, the lesser likelihood is Dorticus knocking Bradis out. But I just think Bradis is very complete. Dorticus, knockout guy, but I think Bradis is more complete. And I always go for the more complete fighter over the knockout guy. Bradis. So I go with Bradis over 12 rounds on that one. The Charlos, I can't pick them. I mean, how do you separate them? Rosario, he comes from a third world country, the Dominican Republic. He's got to be hungry. He's got to be hungry. He's in the position of these Eastern European guys. They're surviving on soup and bread, and then they get the opportunity. They go to the land of opportunity, and now they're eating good, they're living good, they're driving good, huh? They got a pool now, or they might have a pool. Come on, he's got everything. He's got everything to fight for. So I can't write Rosario off. No way, no how. I think he's got a lot to play for. What's Derevchenko? He's the same thing. He's coming from a third world. He's coming from underprivileged to possible privilege. Those third world guys, you cannot write them off. So that's why I see both of those fights as 50-50. I can't separate.
Derevchenko comes from a middle-class background in the Ukraine.
A middle-class background in the Ukraine. So, he's not coming from poverty, but still, I'm sure that, he's got I'm sure he's inspired.
I have a question for you gentlemen. No, I'm on. I want to address it. This Dubois versus Joyce fight, I don't know if it'll ever happen, but I have a question. If Daniel Dubois beats Joe Joyce, is this a better win than Anthony Joshua beating Dillian White? Because I think it is.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
People have told me no.
No, at that stage, Joe Joyce is an Olympic silver medalist. Dillian White was a guy coming off of a couple of years layoff. He wasn't the most successful of amateurs. Dillian White and Joshua was the larger fight because Joshua's name was the gold medalist, and Dillian White had that victory over him in the amateurs when Joshua was whatever, and they were able to sell the fight. So in terms of bigger, the Dillian White Joshua fight was larger, right? But in terms of the high level of opposition, Joe Joyce has already got a win over Brian Jennings, and as we all know, guys, beating Brian Jennings makes you the number 2 heavyweight to Deontay Wilder. We all know this. That's how it works. But he's beaten former world champions, former world title contenders already, like Romain Stavern, former world champion. Like, even if we don't rate them that highly, he does have that victory. In debut, he beat Ian Lewis, a former British contender himself, a strong guy, very physical. So Joe Joyce is definitely way further along. right now as a pro and an amateur than Dillian was at that time. And Anthony Joshua was a heavy favorite in that fight. Heavy favorite. Dillian White was a 1-10 underdog opening with the bookies. I think Joe Joyce is a 1-4 underdog, which is just due to like fan whatever, because that opened up at 1-2 and it's drifted to 1-4s. So fans have put more odds on Daniel. So that's where that comes from. But this is deemed a more 50-50 matchup between more fans than Joshua White was, so it's a much harder fight. That's just my stance on it.
Tommy, you there?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to go after Mark, but generally speaking, I think it's at this point in his career, as Mark said, he's a Olympian, and White didn't have that pedigree, that amateur pedigree, so it is a more significant fight. There's one thing that a lot of people don't know is that Joe Joyce, I think he was actually stopped in the first round in the amateurs. I can't remember who by though.
That was against Sergey Kuzmin.
Okay.
Was this early in his career, in his amateur career, or like later?
No, this was because Joe Joyce had a 10-year amateur career, like representing towards British level, going through the Commonwealth and everything. This was I think predating the Europeans in 2014, just predating that qualifiers. He got knocked out. It's available on YouTube. So you can just type in Kuzman versus Joe Joyce and you'll be able to find it and watch it for yourself there.
Was he knocked out or TKO'd?
TKO'd. I mean, it looked very bad at the start, but he got up off head. I think he managed to get to his feet when the referee stopped it in the corner the second time, like for the punishment. But it was a TKO. It wasn't a clean knockout. It wasn't like Evgeny Ramonov versus Deontay Wilder where he nearly took his head off of his neck.
So
was it one punch or a combination?
I can't remember, man. Last time I watched that was 5 years ago.
Okay. My stance on it. Firstly, I don't think it's a given that Dubois wins.
Okay.
I think that Joyce has got the reputation for being slow. But as I always say, if he's so slow, how come he keeps on punching people in the face? So I don't think he's as slow. I don't think he's as slow as he appears to be. So it's not a given that Dubois wins. However, if he does win, is that a better win? Yeah, because he's a better pedigree than White had at that time. However, White we've been fighting. Well, he had one fight in MMA. He had a number of fights in kickboxing. So, so maybe we can't put that aside. We have to take into account White's experience in fighting in general. But yeah, you could say it would be a better win for Dubois.
Because I was told no. But my argument was that the Joshua win over White became bigger because of what Dillian did after. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, it became much more magnified because of what Dillian White after the Joshua fight had a steep upward trajectory. I mean, he won some good fights after that. So, it more magnified it. But it's like, I'm saying, like, at this point in their careers, I'm saying Dubois beating Joe, if he beats Joe Joyce, is a much better win than Joshua because of what Mark said. He's a silver medalist, long amateur career, all of that. But if Joyce beats Dubois, would Dubois be the best resume on Joyce's? I mean, the best fighter on Joe Joyce's record?
If Joe Joyce beat Dubois,
would Dubois be the best name? So Dubois would be a better name.
I don't think.
Victory or name?
Best fighter, but not the best name.
Best victory or name? Because he fought Usyk as well, didn't he?
Best victory, but not best name.
If Joyce beats Dubois, would Dubois be the best?
You can remember both guys are largely, in my opinion, they're not fully tested yet.
I'll just say,
do they have any significant wins on? I mean, really significant. It's too early yet. We'd probably have to give this another year or two after they've fought each other to benchmark it.
Like with Dubois,
see what they do after,
Yeah. Yeah, with Dubois, we're looking at a guy who's very strong and looks the part, right? But he ain't beaten anybody yet to say how good he is, or fought against high-level opposition. So for me, if Joyce were to beat him, would that be Joyce's best win? Some people could say it is, but a guy who's proven, like Brian Jennings, we know what level he's at. We know where Brian Jennings been. I'm not building it like the Ortiz way, but I'm saying he went into the 12th round with Oscar Rivas, right? And he got stopped. He's been in there, went the distance with Vlad. He's given a lot of guys good work. He's beaten solid guys like Spielka and Mike Perez through the years. A prime Spielka, not the Spielka Chisora fought 6 years later. Jennings is a good boxer. And I don't know if Dubois could actually beat him because I haven't seen him fight anyone near that level yet. So I can't say that he'd be better than Bryant. That's being honest. If he were to lose to Joe Joyce, what level does that make him? He was able to beat Nathan Gorman. Could Gorman go in there and beat Jennings? I would bet money on Jennings in that fight. I'd bet heavy money on Jennings to beat Nathan Gorman. I'd bet money on him to beat Cajano and Kingpin Johnson as well. He'd outbox those guys. He'd make them look foolish because he's a smart, athletic guy. He knows how to jab, move off, pivot. And if you watch him against Joyce, there's an argument he beat Joyce. There's an argument. He had Joyce hurt. You watch that fight again over and over, you'll see Joyce was folding and crumpling to the body against Brian Jennings, not known as a large puncher, but he was dissecting his body and his liver. So Brian's a good technical guy. So I don't know if I could put Dubois ahead of him yet because he hasn't proven to be above that level yet. He hasn't got the wins.
Dubois, Joyce, the best win on Joyce's record is Jennings. The best guy he's fought would have to be Usyk. Daniel Dubois on, at the top level. He hasn't got the top level yet, so he's still unproven. He's still a prospect. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's my stance on that one.
No. Okay. Well, hey, man, I don't really have much else to talk about. Talked about Colby Covington, talked about Tyson Fury, and talked about this. I want to thank y'all for coming on. The legend himself, Rafi Dawkins, the man himself, Mark, and Mr. Temper. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate y'all coming through and keeping me company today. EJ, thank you also.
Yes, right? yes. Nice for having me. Thanks for having me. Have a blessed day. Great fights later on. Peace out.
But hold on. Before you go, Rafi,
yeah.
The Tony Yoka win. What do you make of that? Is it Duhaupas is just completely finished?
Well, we don't know. We don't know if Duhaupas is completely finished. We're gonna have to see him fight again. What we do know is that Tony Yoka took him out in one round.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, is Tony Yoka really that special?
I think he's special. He's a Olympic gold medalist. Yeah. Took out Duhaupas in a round. He's beat. Who else has he beat? He's beat a bunch of guys. Derevenchenko, Wallish. So he's beating established. Well, he's beating, top tier journeymen. The others on the end of their careers. So I think that still counts for something. It's just another building block. It's another building block. It's another step in the right direction. I like Yoka. I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do going forward. But taking out a guy like that still counts. It still counts for something, even though it's at the end of his career. It still counts. It's still a name. It's still a name.
No doubt. I'm not hitting. I'm just like, wow, this dude. Yeah. I mean, this looked like a real one-sided fight. I was like, is this guy really that special or what?
Well, we're gonna see. But it's still a step in the right direction, and it's looking good.
All right. Anywho, that's all from me. Anything else from anybody else? Tony says Joyce is sparking Dubois. Anyway.
We'll see.
Yeah. I'll add one thing onto the Tony Yoka thing, if I may.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. I think even though the Hop is a little bit past it at this stage, I think he showed just how powerful he is because let's not forget when Povetkin knocked out the Hop, it took him a few rounds, but when Povetkin did it, the Hopper literally was there as a fan. He went over to that fight as a fan. He was not meant to be the opponent. The opponent pulled out, and the Hopper had 20 hours notice for that fight against Alexander Povetkin. He went into the ring wearing bowling shoes.
That's right.
He was wearing bowling shoes when he got knocked out, and he went a few rounds. So even if he's older now and past it more, he hadn't trained to fight Povetkin. He hadn't done anything. He just took the fight on 20 hours notice and went a few more rounds than that.
That's
So
right.
I think it's a seriously good knockout because he just brutalized him. And when a guy that big and large just starts teeing off on you at will, there's only so much your chin can take. And he was landing clean power shots. Like with Wilder and Povetkin, they weren't able to get the shots through. Yoka made smart use of that uppercut right through, that high guard that he kept. He got that shot landing. He was coming with that straight right, but he looped it over the arm. So he took it at an angle. He stepped out slightly. So he was making more use of actual just boxing fundamentals on taking the angle and then getting the power shot off so they couldn't be blocked. It's not just about the chin with the hop. It was that guard is hard to pierce, and Tony Yoka dissected it instantly. So
Instantly.
that was good.
Instantly dissected it, instantly took him 1 round, took Deontay Wilder 9 rounds, and it took what's his name, the Ukraine guy, Povetkin took him 6 with Duapas on 20 hours notice. So I'm impressed.
Povetkin's Russian. Yeah,
Povetkin's Russian, the Russian guy, Russian Povetkin took
Mr.
him 6 rounds.
Mr. Temper, anything you want to add to anything? Tommy's gone. That's okay. Rafi, you got a troll following you here, but we're not going to.
Hey, the trolls. If you ain't got trolls, you're doing it wrong.
Anyway, man, thank y'all for coming out, man. Peace out.
Much honor and respect. Take care of yourself, Kong.
Yeah, man. Easy, King. Please,
Bless
please.
it, bless it, bless it.
Mark, appreciate you coming through, man.
thanks for having me on, man. Take care.
Tommy Temper, you have a nice day. All right. I want to thank everybody for coming in the chat. If you disagree with me, if you agree with me, that's fine. Conversation is good. Thank y'all. Take care. Have a nice day. Peace and power.